Hello. We did say 3 o'clock, right? Oops. All right. Oh. Hi, Mario.
Hi, Harold.
Hello.
He wants to do two black today.
Good luck.
Yeah. Did you get your
Yeah.
survey? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
got it
came yesterday. Yeah, pretty quick.
Yeah, mine too.
Amazon's amazing, no?
Yeah, much more expensive than any.
Yeah.
Señor Jorge,
¿Cómo estás?
muy bien.
Ay, ¿te se están portando bien?
Sí. Pronto para Shabbat.
Ya listo, ya listo.
Okay. Okay. All right, yes, early.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Ernie.
Hello.
A good near of Shabbos. Okay. We're on 69. Samech Tes Samadal. Gufa, Amrav Yochanan. Gozal Vilonis Yashua Bailim. Person stole, and the Bailim have not abandoned hope. Shneim, neither of them, not the Bailim and not the Gazlan, Einan Yecholon Lahagdish, cannot be Magdish the item to the base of Mikdash. Zeh Lefiena Shalom. The Gazlan, it doesn't own it because the Bailim have not been Misyash in the item. So he's not coin it. You can only be Magdish something that you own. Zeh, the owners don't have it in their Rishus. It's in the Rishus of the Gazlan. Lefishena B'Rishusum. So neither can be Magdish. Okay. So the Gemara says, Umi Amar Rav Yochanan Hachi. Does Rav Yochanan really say this? From Rav Yochanan. Halacha Kistam Mishnah. Rav Yochanan is known to have posited an opinion that the halacha always follows an unnamed Mishnah, an anonymous Mishnah. And we're going to quote a Stam Mishnah, a Mishnah that doesn't have a name attached to it, which, according to the premise of the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan holds that's the halacha. So what is this Mishnah? It's not. Kerem Ravoy. So we've discussed Kerem Ravoy before. We know when you plant a tree or a vineyard, so the first 3 years, any fruit that grows from that tree is prohibited to eat and is prohibited by no. It's called orla. Now, in the 4th year, there's a new status. It's called neta ravai or kerem ravai. And you are permitted to eat the fruit, but you got to take it to Shalayim and eat it there. Similar to Meiser Sheni. Or you can redeem the fruit to money and bring the money to Yerushalayim and eat it there. Now, Hayim Mitzayim also Bekuzas Adama. They had to listen, people wander by people's field. And Nash, even if it doesn't belong to them. The problem is this is prohibited to eat. So they would put little signs around these plantings that everybody would know that it's Kerem Ravai and they shouldn't eat from it. Now, Simana Kiadama. actually were like clumps of dirt is what the siman. And it meant something. Ma'adama ikanomina. Ground, you're allowed to use. Av hainamiki mafrika shaylis yanamine. This also, after redemption, could be used. Ve shel orla. Now, if the farmer has an orchard of trees where the fruit is within the first 3 years, well, then it's prohibited to eat. So the marker was chresis, was a piece of pottery, broken. And people would understand the signal, simona kachresis. Machresis ein anomi minei. It's like the Tosfos or the Rajba says it's ground that was known not to be fertile. And therefore the siman is, just like this ein anomine, of high, these fruits, less be anomine. Passerbys should recognize that they're not allowed to eat this fruit. Then shalkvaros, besid. If you buried somebody in the ground, they would mark it with lime. Lime, Kohanim had to stay away from graves. So simana dechir katzomus. Now, lime is white. Think about going to a baseball like Dodger Stadium, and the groundskeepers use that white, when they mark off the base paths, and they have that thing that drops lime. I think it's lime, but it's a white substance, and the white substance is supposed to remind you of bones. So it reminds the Kohanim, don't walk here, there are bones here. Umamcha v'shoifech, he pours it. So it would be very white. When do you put this sign? That's only for Kerem Ravai and Orla, Bishvius, during the Shemitah year. Now, why? The Hefkerninu. Now, in a private field, the fruits belong to the owner. Passerbys can't just walk in there and take the fruit. But during the Shemitah year, fruits are hefker. Everyone can take anybody's fruits. And therefore, you should put a siman if it's Kerem Ravai or Orla, so passerbys will be careful not to take it. Aval bishar shnei shavu. But in the other years of the Shemitah cycle, that's not Shemitah, you don't have to do it. Because hilitula rasha v'yamos. A person's not going to declare himself a rasha by stealing. That he's going to steal, but he's going to be careful what he steals, that it's not osher b'achila. Now, Hatznuim, the owners of an orchard or a vineyard that were very modest and careful so that other people wouldn't sin, Meinichines Amos. We had this yesterday too, or 2 days ago. They would set aside some money there. the oimrim kol anilkat mizeh, whoever takes fruit from here, if there's going to be an automatic redemption. Remember we said that either you take it up to Yerushalayim, or if the fruit is worth $100, there's a 20% redemption fee that you have to, so that people who take fruit should not be over the Yisr of Kermavai, because automatically there'll be redemption taken from this month. However, the owners in this situation are redeeming the fruit that's not in their reshus because somebody else has taken them. So that's why the Gemara says this doesn't fit with Rav Yochanan, because Rav Yochanan says that a Stam Mishnah halacha is like that. So, and here it seems that an owner of something could be magdish it or have power over it, even if it's not in their reshus. So it's a kasha on Rav Yochanan. So maybe we would say, who is the author of this Baraisa that mentions Snuin? It's Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. So it's not a Stam Mishnah. It's the continuation of the Das Yochid Rav Shimon ben Gamliel. The Rav Yochanan Kastam Yechido Lo Omar. And Rav Yochanan is not going to paskin like a solitary posek. But the Gemara brings another proof that would be problematic for Rav Yochanan. We're on Samech Tes, Amud Aleph, 69.
Thank you.
On the first, Amud Aleph, about halfway down. The Omar Rabbi Baruch Hanun Rav Yochanan, Kol Makom Sheshon Rav Shimon Gamliel, the Mishnah Seinu, Halacha Kamoso. Rav Shimon Gamliel was a very accepted posek. Whenever he brings an opinion, the halacha is always like him, except for three cases: Chutz, Me'orev, Sidon, and Raya Achrona. These are special cases. We're not going to go into them now. We've had them before, but this is not one of those. So the halacha is like it, which is going to be opposed to what we said in the name of Rav Yochanan, that people cannot be mamzer something that's not in their reshus. So the Gemara answers, Amri, lo tema, don't say that the Baraisa reads, kol anil kat mizeh, means in the past, whoever took from these fruits, it'll be redeemed. Ela kol mislaket mizeh. It's in the future. And therefore, they are being mechalel fruits that are still in their reshus. So, can we attribute this to Rav Yochanan? Vam Rav Yochanan. Snuin, these modest people in the din of Kem Ravai. The Rav Dosa, who is going to discuss when Aniyim pick up leket. Anu Davarecha. They hold the same thing. And we don't say, once somebody's a Rasha, he's a Ganef, we let him do whatever he wants. No. We try to help him. And Rav Dosa clearly said Nilkat Ka'omar. Rav Dosa didn't talk about the future, he talked about the past. In the past, if a Gazan already took the fruit, it's not in the owner's reshus anymore. How could he be magdish it? How could he do a redemption act? Now, what is this shita of Rav Dosa? The Tanya. Rav Yud Oimer. Shachris Balabayis. Oimed v'oimer. In the morning, an owner of a field can get up and say, Kol sheyilketu aniyim hayom yehi hefker. he will say, listen, my workers are going to go through this field. Whatever they pick up and drop is called leket. And the aniyim are entitled to take that. Now, maybe while the aniyim are doing that, they're going to pick up stuff that really doesn't belong to them. So Rav Yehuda says, I'm going to clear the aniyim from any din of thievery because I'm going to be mafkir. Anything that's going to be picked up by aniyim today, I'm mafkir to them, which is in the future. Rav Dosa Omer, he doesn't do it in the morning for the future. Ela le'ituti erev Omer. He, at the end of the day, as the sun is setting, he says, Kol shalok tu aniyim yehi hefker. He goes backwards. And he says, anything that the aniyim picked up today will be hefker. According to Rav Dosa, this act of hefker is even when it's not in his reshus, because the aniyim already picked it out. So Rav Yochanan has a problem with this because he's not talking about then when Rav Yochanan said you can't be mocked to something that's not in your reshus, it's not correct. So the Gemara answers, Eipuch, Rav Yehuda, Rav Dosa, Rav Yehuda. So Rav Dosa is the one who is talking about the future. Amai achbes masnisa. Why are you flipping this brisa? Ibcha Rav Yochanan. Just say that Rav Yochanan doesn't hold what he said. The Ema and say, Snu in Rav Yehuda on Rudavarech. That the Snu in Rav Yehuda said the same thing. And so Amri lo sagi lo misafos masnisa. We have to really switch the brisa. Yavam masnis and ktani. The Isleil Rav Yehuda Breira. Because our old friend, retroactive designation, Breira. Something that's only going to be determined in the future can go back. Retroactively, we can say it has effect. Now, and Rav Yehuda must rely on Breira. If he wakes up in the morning and he says, everything that the Aniyim pick up, really it's Hefker. So he's going to have to say, Huvra Davar Lamafreya, that retroactively everything they picked up was Hefker. But we have sources, Shamina le Rav Yehuda Ba'alma to last Breira. So that's why it makes sense that we're switching the Baraisa. Because the way that we learn the Baraisa doesn't shtim, it doesn't work, because Rav Yehuda we're going to show doesn't hold the Breira. So we're forced to switch the sheet of Rav Yehuda in the Baraisa, not switch the sheet of Rav Yochanan. Where do we see the source that Rav Yehuda doesn't hold of Breira? This is not. This is also a case that we've had before. Halokeach yain mibein hakusim. Kusim were people who lived in the Shomron. And it's Erev Shabbos ben Hashmoshes. And night is following. And he doesn't have anything to drink. He doesn't have any wine for Shabbos. He doesn't have time to be mafresh, trumas and maisris. Normally, the kusim didn't separate trumas and maisris. And he doesn't have the time right now before Shabbos to be mafresh physically the wine that he brought. He wants to drink from this wine. And let's say he had bought 100 barrels or 100 lug. Oimer, shnei lugin shani asid lahafrish. After, because you're not allowed to separate trumas and maasros on Shabbos. So I'm going to give 2 out of 100. That's 1/50th. That's the normal shear for truma. So 2 out of 2 that I'm going to separate Motzei Shabbos will be Areihen Truma. Then Motzei Shabbos I'll separate Asara, which is Meiser Rishon, and then you left with 90, right? 98 minus 10 is 88. We round it up to 90. So then you have to give another 10 Meiser Sheni, which is Tisha. All of this is going to be given Motzei Shabbos. Umeichel. And he immediately, you still can't drink Meiser Sheni in Tel Aviv unless you redeem it for that extra 20%. He has money in his house, so he says, I'll redeem the Meiser Sheni on money that I have in my house. And the shoyse miyad. And he can drink the wine right away, even though he hasn't physically separated anything. Divrei Rab Meir holds of Breira, that he's going to say that Motzei Shabbos, tomorrow night, when I separate, retroactively, it works now. Rav Yehuda, Rav Yosi, Rav Shimon, Oisrim, because they hold Ein Breira. So that's why we have to switch the Baraisa. Amri, so the Gemara doesn't accept it. Sof. Amaika ich bislan masnisin. Why did you switch the Baraisa? Mishum. The Kash Rav Yehuda, you had a stira. Because if a guy stands up in the morning and is mafkir for the future, you're relying on Breira. And you brought me, but you brought me another Rav Yehuda that says he doesn't hold of Breira, so you had to switch because of that stira in Rav Yehuda. Ashtanami kasha Rav Yochanan, Rav Yochanan. But Rav Yochanan is going to have a problem with his statement that the Bailim can be magdish something even though it's not in their rishus, and the fact that he holds halacha kastam mishnah. Darman Rav Yochanan, you said according to Rav Yochanan that the tznuim will not say kol anilkat. We're not going backwards. We're going in the future. Anything that they're going to pick in the future will be taken care of. Alma is lebreira. So you got to use breira with that mechanism. And we know Rav Yochanan himself less lebreira. Rav Yochanan, we have other sources that say that Rav Yochanan doesn't hold of breira. Dharma Vasem Rav Yochanan. Ha'achin shechalku. Father died. There's brothers that are inheriting. Now, how do you view them? According to Rav Yochanan, you view them as lekuchosei, as if they purchased this property from their father or from each other. And therefore, machzirin zelazeh. B'yoivim. Normally, houses go back when you buy something on Yoivim. So Rav Yochanan says when Yovel comes, they give it back to each other, like any kinyan that was bought before Yovel. And then they redivide. From here, it's clear that we don't say breira, that at the time that the father died, it was theirs through Yerusha. No, they're lekuchos. We don't amend the Baraisa to say kol mislake. We leave it kol anilkat, because really he doesn't hold of breira. Even though from here it seems to be a proof that a person could be magdir something that's not in rishus. And that which Rav Yochanan paskin, umad Rav Yochanan, when he said that a person cannot be magdish something that's not in his rishus, stomachrina ashkach, he found another stam mission. This not. Eina going v'achar ganev, mishlanto shel b'kefel. If ganev 1 steals something, and ganev 2 comes and steals from the ganev 2 doesn't pay kefel. Now, am I? Bishma leganev rishon lo mishav. I understand why the second ganev doesn't pay kefil to the first ganev, because it says v'gonev mi beit ha'ish yishalim shnayim, v'lo mi beis haganev. The ish is the original owner, and perhaps from the lotion of the pasuk itself, it excludes the second ganef pain kefil. But it says the gonev mibeit sa'ish, maybe lebailim nishalim. Maybe the second ganef should also pay the original owner. Elalav shmamino. In this case, there's no kefil, not for the first guy, not for the second guy. Why? Zeh lefisheina shalom. The first ganef doesn't pay kefil because it's not his. And the bailim is Eina Birshuso. So, Umay Chazis the Azul Basra Histama. Why do you go after this stamish? The Levik Yaistama the Snuin. Why did you dump the Mishnah that brought the Snuin case? Mishum Shemisayele Kro. Because the Pasuk helps Rav Yochanan. And it says, V'ish ki agdishas beso kodesh lashem. Implying that an owner has to have the item in his rishus when he's magdish it. Ma beisar birshuso avkol birshuso. Amar Abaya. Ilavdam Rav Yochanan. Snuin Rav Doisar Mudavar Echad. If we didn't hear Rav Yochanan say that the case of the Snuin and the case of Rav Doisar are the same thing, Havamina, I would have thought something else. That Snuin Islahud Rav Dosa. Maybe that the Snuin would hold of Rav Dosa, but Rav Dosa Leslie did Snuin. Why is this? Snuin Islahud Rav Dosa, and say like this: Beganef Uma Beganef of the Rabbanan Takonta. Person comes by a field and he takes fruit, so he's a ganef there. There the Chachamim made a takana for him that the Bailim can set aside money and redeem it even though it's not in their rishus. Because they don't want the ganef to sin. Now, by aniyim, which is what Rav Doisa was talking about, where they took more leket than really they were deserving. Where the takana was for the owner to be mafkir everything in the morning. They're not ganvening b'mezi. They took it by accident. So if the chachami made a takana for a ganef who stole be'isser, so is there any shaila that they would make the same takana for an ani who's picking up leket, tzricha lemeimar? So that's why the tznuim would definitely hold the same sheet as Rav Dosa. But you can't learn the same way the other way. But Rav Dosa less nights litznuim. Aniyim hu da'avil rabat takana. The chachami made this takana that the owner of the field gets up and is mafkir everything in the morning because we don't want the aniyim to commit a sin. Because aniyim are not, they're not doing anything b'mezi. But ganav lo of the rabbanon takana. But we could learn very well that Rav Dosa did not make a takana for a ganav. What? He's stealing, now you're going to make a takana for him? Amar Rava, ilavd Amar Rav Yochanan snun Rav Dosa Mudavar Echad. If you didn't say the statement that Rav Doisa and the Tznuim are saying the same shita, Avamina, I would have learned Mantan at Tznuim, Rav Meir he. Right? Rav Meir who holds of Breira. Or holds something else. Lam of Rav Meir, Meiser, which we're talking about here, Meiser Sheni, Maman Gavoyahu. Really, Meiser Sheni belongs to Shammai. Vafilachi, Le'inyan Pedia, Ukmirachmana Bershusei. The Torah basically puts the Meiser Sheni into our Rishus to allow us to redeem it. And it's Exer Sakosu Tichsiv, Vim Ga'ol Yigal Ish Mimasro, Hamishiso Yosef Lav. You have to add a 20%. Chayi Rachmana Masroi. Notice the Torah says it's his Meiser, even though it's not. It belongs to Hashem, according to Rav Meir. and still moitzav alav choimish. It's effective like a bailim who own the item. Similarly, Kerem Ravoy Nami. It's considered like his reshus regarding this chilul process. Shagomar, we learn exer shava kodesh mi meiser from meiser sheik. Ksivacha, it says by Kerem Ravoy kodesh hilulim. Uksiv gabi meiser v'chol masara aretz mizera haaretz mipreetz lashem hu kodesh. Ma kodesh t'chsiv legabi meiser. Alpha gav demamen gavoyu. Even though technically this asset is not considered personal asset of the owner, it's considered Hashem's. But in terms of the power to redeem it, the Torah has put it in the reshus of the owner. Afhai by Kerem Ravai, Kodesh Nami, T'chsiv Gabi Kerem Ravai, Alpha Gav, the Lav Maman Didei, who it really also belongs to Hashem. Regarding this ability to redeem it, Uchmi Rachmana B'Rshusei. The Haki Yitzur B'Rshusei Nami Halav Didei. Even what's in his reshus, it's not completely his. So that's why when people come along, they can redeem it. That's by Kerem Ravoy. Avagabi leket. Kiva de mimona didei. He is the reshus who de matzi mafkir le. When it's in his reshus, he has the ability to be mafkir it. But when the Oni picked it up, he left the reshus le matzi mafkir le. That's why there had to be a combination between the Tznu and Rav Meir, and not like the sheet of Rav Dosa that was matir to be mafkir leket that's not in his reshus. Different way of learning. Ravina. He loved Rav Yechon, soon Rav Dosa, Rav Dover Echad. If it wasn't for the fact that Rav Yechon equated what the Tznuin Rav Dosa said, Havamina, Mantana Tznuin, Rav Dosa. Perhaps the whole price of the Tznuin was Rav Dosa, which is a Das Yachid. Kiechi de lo tikshi stam Mishnah, Rav Yechon. In order that we wouldn't have this problem with the kasha of an anonymous Mishnah with the sheet of Rav Yochanan. And Rav Yochanan is not going to be able, Kastam Yechidah Lo Amar. Okay. Now, Mario, we're going to learn Daf Ayin.